Hey
All
everybody,
right.
welcome to This Week in Pro Wrestling, where you have a lot to talk about, especially with what happened yesterday with AEW Blood and Guts. But before we start, I'm Mike Sandoval.
And
Jeff,
I'm the J to the E to the double F free. Once again, it is Jeffrey Harris. The honor and pleasure is all Mike's, I'm sure.
of
Welcome
course it
back
is.
to This Week in Wrestling. Thank you, Mike.
Hey, it's always great to be here every week. We got we got some great stuff to talk about, especially after what happened last night. Last night was AEW Blood and Guts. Fill them in on what happened.
So we had the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle, the long awaited Blood and Guts match, which was supposed to happen last year, but, due to the results of the pandemic and the lockdown restrictions, they put it off, and we finally got it last night on Dynamite. And what a doozy that was! What a violent, bloody contest. I think it was everything we wanted it to be. It lived up to its expectations. Now I'm sure you can probably criticize the ending with the fall from Jericho, but nonetheless, I think it came off a lot better than the exploding death barbed wire death match. I think
It
it paid off for them.
it did, but if you notice
But
on
what?
Gage, there was like a little step that
Right?
the other side didn't have. So after you could tell that it was after so Jericho could fall off and land correctly onto where he needed
Oh,
to.
they had that kind of gimmicked kind of with the boxes.
Yeah,
It was a gimmick. It was gimmicked and it was padded to
mhm,
soften the fall. You could
exactly.
tell. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it was a little too
But
obvious. I mean, the match was great. I
all
had
right.
so much fun from when Sammy Guevara came in. There was a
Okay.
lot of blood. There was a lot of just a
It was
good
blood and guts,
yeah,
man.
exactly. The one thing like but MG and this is the one thing I love, which they did a good job on.
Okay.
It made you really dislike MJ.
MJF is like the ultimate bad guy right now.
Yeah,
He's like the best bad guy in wrestling, I think.
I think so. Definitely better than a lot of the guys that WWE has. Because I
I
think
think the
he's a good
finish,
bad guy.
I think the finish worked. I think what he did to Jericho worked, other than, yeah, like Jericho fell into like a big padded area. But I think when you're doing a big bump like that, it's hard to make it, I guess it's hard to make it so it looks devastating, but make it safe. I mean, do you remember what happened with Matt Hardy's head bouncing off the concrete when he did that match with Sammy Guevara?
Yep.
And that looked horrible.
Yeah, that looked bad.
Um, because his head, like he was supposed to fall through that table, but his head overshot it and bounced off the concrete, and he got knocked out. So I think you just had when you're doing like a big sort of like scary fall like that. In my opinion, what they did was fine, but I know other people have been criticizing it
Yeah. And
for
I
the
and I
ending.
think well, I think Jericho taking the fall was a little concerning to me because I just didn't want to see him get hurt.
I'm glad we saw some blood
Hmm.
in the match. I don't think I think blading or cuts or blood or color or whatever in a wrestling match, I think it's fine. Just don't do it a lot. And I think with the way this feud was going, doing that amount of blood was, I think it was fine. A
Yeah,
few
it was
guys were
fine.
busted open. MJF got busted open. One of FTR got busted open. Sammy got like a nasty cut on his
Yeah.
shoulder during
Yeah.
that match. But
And
man,
I don't know.
Santana and Ortiz looked awesome in that match
Oh
too.
yeah, they
Yeah.
did. But I don't know if you noticed, if you're really looking hard,
Mhm.
you could see when Jericho and MGF were on top of the
Yeah.
cage, you could see Chris Jericho literally getting into the bottom of his wrist, little pat, little
Oh, getting
sweatband,
getting the gimmick to
getting
blade
the
to cut
little
himself,
yeah, exactly.
the razor. Yeah.
Which usually you don't see that often, but they had such a tight shot on that you could see the gimmick,
Yeah.
which I'm okay if they show it because by now for us we already know how they get cut.
That's the trick.
Exactly.
They
And
hide the referee or someone, they hide a little razor,
mhm,
little nick on the forehead, and it creates like the nice, like their bloody
mhm.
cut
Uh,
open visual.
as JR would say, the Crimson Mask.
The crimson red mask.
Yeah. But
Um,
overall, I mean, like overall, the show was. I didn't like the start of the show. I thought it was
okay.
really weak. I think it could have been better. The QT Marshall Cody Rhodes match was also kind of
I
eh.
would have saved that for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, yeah. The tag team match to see who faces
The Young
uh
Bucks.
the Young Bucks was kind of that was good, but it was predictable.
Well, those matches were all taped about 2 weeks ago, according to Dave Meltzer. So the only match they filmed last night was Blood and Guts, and then Darby Allen's segment with Ethan Page and Scorpio Scott. Everything else was taped beforehand and just shown on a screen to the audience. And apparently, the reactions from the audience watching on a screen were broadcast live, but everything else was taped 2 weeks ago. Apparently, that's the word. So only blood and guts was held live last night, and I guess it's because of that big cage rig they had.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, that was a nice rig, a nice setup
Mm-hmm.
for last
It
night.
was.
How did you think the cage looked visually?
I thought it looked great. Kind of reminded me of the
Yeah.
old school days, except that you could tell it was reinforced in certain aspects.
But what I liked that they had turnbuckle cameras. They were able to get a cameraman inside the cage. So
Yeah,
I think that definitely helped and added and livened up the look, and the production values were definitely there.
yeah,
Definitely top notch. The announcers the announcers can't say war games, so they're calling all the old war games matches blood and guts, which is like, I see what you're doing. Like, yeah,
yeah. Well, that
could
was
you just
something.
not like pay? Okay, WWE will pay you, like, give us a number so we can just say war games for one night. Come on.
Exactly. And that was the thing that I was listening to, which is a really good podcast or a really
Yes.
good radio show on Sirius XM rated radio, Busted Open Radio. Today I was
Okay.
listening to it, and Bubba Ray was saying that the one thing that really pissed him off about this whole pay per view, this whole
Not a pay per
option
view.
thing, yeah, it was a pay per view style type of television
Right.
taping of Dynamite. The one thing
Right.
he didn't the one thing he did bring up was that he didn't like the way that the referees were used. That it seemed
What,
kind of like
having them on the outside?
not on the not for the blood and guts. It was the matches before.
Oh, okay.
Like the Kenny Omega match, making it seem like if it was there was no rules and the refs were
Okay.
there and there wasn't a lot of respect on the refs.
Okay.
And also too was and one thing that he was really going off on, which it was interesting, was the fact of Kenny Omega coming out with the AEW belt, but having
Oh, I heard.
Michael
Yeah. Go ahead.
uh what's his last name? Michael
Nakazawa.
Nakazawa carrying the triple A super belt,
Right.
the Impact Championship and the TNA Championship, which made it kind of like, because in his view it was very they were gimmick belts, and that those belts didn't mean
That's
anything
dumb.
in comparison to
That's
AEW.
dumb. And Bully Ray, Bubba Ray, I'm going to tell you why that's dumb.
Mhm.
Like, China used to come out holding the belts for the champions all the time in DX. Bobby Heenan would hold his champions belts uh, all the time. Michael Nakazawa is like, he's like Omega's second, his little toady, whatever. He's the AEW world champion. They're on an AEW show. He's wearing the AEW belt. What is the big deal?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
come on.
and I think the reason he brings it up because of Impact being its own company
Right.
and trying to keep that belt prestigious
It
for
is
when they take it.
to me, do you,
I
do
don't.
you
It could be a
all
lot of
right,
bluffing,
all
but
right.
I'm just saying.
Answer my question, Mike. Do you think Impact was made any less prestigious by having Nakazawa carry the belts last night or
No.
AAA?
Nope.
I didn't get that at all. I
Because
thought to me
they need help. It's
it's
like they
just
need
like
some help.
okay, Omega is so badass. He's
Mhm.
collecting all these belts and like look at all these belts he's in possession of that he can't, he's got so many belts he can't wear all of them.
Yeah.
Like I remember Ultimo Dragon had a thing in the 90s where he had like tons of belts he was carrying around.
Yeah.
Like 9 belts.
Yeah. It was something
It's
that he
not a
brought
big
up, and it was interesting to hear his take on that.
and Bobby the Brain Heenan, like he was the Weasel and all that. He was the
Yep.
ultimate like Weasel heel, and he would carry his champions belts. It's not a slight on the belt or the title to have like your manager or your valet and care. But I heard that I do not agree with Bully Ray at all.
Well, and it's also a good segue to talk about the AAA championship, super championship.
Okay,
What's
so
your
yeah.
info on that?
Okay, so here's the story. Let me bring it up. So at the AAA event at Rey de Reyes last Saturday, Andrade delivered a challenge to Kenny Omega to defend his AAA Mega Championship at Triple Mania 29. So, and this is not like a rumor. Omega received the challenge from Andrade. Andrade appeared on video at Rey de Reyes to deliver the challenge to Omega. So, since Omega does have that belt, that means in all likelihood this matchup is going to happen at some point. Hopefully at Triple Mania, which is Triple Mania. To those who don't know, AAA is primarily a Mexican wrestling promotion. Triple Mania is like AAA's version of WrestleMania. It's their big sort of mega event, annual event, basically. And it looks like there will be an Omega versus Andrade match for that title at Triple Mania. It hasn't been confirmed yet. And so far, Omega is playing it a little bit aloof. He said, I'm a busy guy. Give me some time to think about it on Twitter. But I think there's a very high likelihood this matchup is going to happen, Mike.
I actually would love to see that matchup. I think it would be
Mm-hmm.
a great match. Two different styles of wrestling, to me, two different styles of wrestlers, but both fun to watch.
Do you think this is a sign that Andrade could be heading to AEW?
It's possible. It's highly if he wins the AAA belt and with what the agreement that they have,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see him on AEW.
Because AAA and AEW do have a working agreement.
Yeah, and
Secondly,
it works great.
or do you think maybe Andrade wants to stay in the Mexican promotions for a while and just work in Mexico for the time being?
He may, but something tells me that he wants to work here in the U.S. I think he's already done the AAA level already. He's been there. He's done that. He's looking for bigger and better.
Okay, so secondly, they announced there's going to be a matchup between Orange Cassidy and Pac, and the winner of that match is going to face Omega for the AEW World Title. Omega had that interview segment which we were talking about, where he ran down Orange Cassidy, stole his Ray-Ban sunglasses. Man, those are expensive sunglasses. He should get those back.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, shoot.
I'm surprised Orange Cassidy just stood there and took all that verbal abuse.
Same here, but it's Orange Cassidy. Whatever. It's
And then
wrestling.
we also had Miro get an interview with Tony Schiavone. Miro said he's going to be wrestling Darby Allen for the TNT title. So is that next week?
That's next week.
Okay, that's
My thing
interesting.
is, my thing is that when he took that fall off of the stairs,
Oh,
he
Darby
just said like,
Allen.
yeah, Darby Allen, and we're back at AEW because it kind of all links up. But when Darby Allen was thrown down the stairs,
Yes,
there was one point where it looked like he didn't take the fall that well. Where
Darby's a
he,
madman.
yeah, even though I was
Darby
scared,
just
the stairs, him going down the stair was not the first thing I thought was gonna happen. I thought they were gonna throw him over the building.
I'm glad they didn't. Darby probably suggested they throw him over.
Yeah.
The guy is crazy, and the guy will take just any type of bump, and he is nuts.
Mhm. Yeah, he'll do anything that will sell the
I mean,
sell the show.
I like Darby, but I wish he wouldn't like. Sometimes it looks like he's trying to get hurt, you know? And I
Yeah.
wish he would just cut it down a little bit. But
Oh, I agree with
who do you think's going to win that one? You think Miro's finally going to win a title in AEW or what?
you. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he won because I really, after seeing that fall, I really don't know what condition uh is Darby Allen for this match next
Fightful reported that he's doing okay. So supposedly after that bump, he is okay, and he is still going to go forward with the match with Miro. Okay, so here's the other match that got announced for Double or Nothing from last night. So it'll be Hikaru Shida versus Dr. Britt Baker for the women's title. Britt Baker has to win that belt. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. I agree. I think now is the time you let Britt Baker take the win, take the belt, set it up for later on for Thunder Rosa and her for the belt. And it would be just it's obvious. That's the
Shida's
route you
had the
should
belt
go.
for a year.
Mhm.
She's had the belt for a year. So, I mean, come on now.
Yeah,
I'm not,
exactly.
and look, I don't dislike Shida. She's good.
No.
She is a good wrestler, and she's had a good title run, but it's time. Like, Britt Baker has really put the work in. She's developed her character, her promo skills. She's done well in the ring. It's time to give her a run, and like, she will be the mega heel of this division, I
Yeah.
believe.
And I think the women's division right now needs that little shakeup
It needs
right now.
that kind of like, it needs that heel to kind of like, to give the women someone to chase and to like knock down.
Oh, I agree.
So
Completely agree.
I'm excited for that. Do you think I gotta think after they did that promo with Cassidy's gonna beat Pac and get the title shot, but what do you think?
To be honest, I think Pac is gonna win because I don't know about Orange Cassidy at this moment going
Okay.
for a belt, a title shot.
Mm-hmm.
But Pac, I think, is the most likely favorite to go into it, and that's
Okay.
my opinion. I think Pac Omega would be the
All right.
uh,
Cody beat QT Marshall. I felt it was kind of weird to put this match on TV, especially you didn't really need this match on TV this week
mm-mm.
with the Blood and Guts match, you know?
Yeah, no, it just wasn't necessary. Yeah, it wasn't a to me. It wasn't a match that I enjoyed at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could have been set up for something else, like a pay per view, and be better and really put something into it. But like it gets undershadowed by Blood and Guts.
So in the opener, we had Moxley and Omega beat Moxley and Kingston beat Omega and Nakazawa. So you didn't care for this match either, Mike?
Yeah, I wasn't too. It wasn't a good pop to start the show for me.
Okay. Well, the good news is the Blood and Guts match definitely delivered, and we got some ratings news. So
So how
last
did it
night's
go?
show, they did over 1 million viewers. They did 1.090 million viewers. They topped the ratings. So they were number
Wow.
one in the ratings for last night on cable. So that's the big thing. People are watching Dynamite. Maybe not as many people as WWE, but people are definitely giving it a look. Last week, viewership was down because of the presidential address to the joint session of Congress, but the numbers went back up this week. So they broke 1 million viewers and they were number one in the ratings. So
Yeah.
I think this is the first time in a long time they were number one in the ratings. Like they've frequently been like number two or in the top five, but never number one. So this was like their first like we didn't just beat like NXT. We won the ratings against all the other programming on cable on Wednesday night, basically. So this is huge for
Yeah.
AEW to have a ratings win like this.
And I'm hoping that they keep it up. This is a new trend, and when they start going back into the road and going into stadiums, they're carrying this momentum with them.
Okay, so over on NXT, we do have some new women's tag team champions.
Yes, we do.
Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell of The Way. They beat Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart in the street fight, and now we have new women's tag team champions in NXT. Good for them. I think you could have maybe had Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart hold the titles longer, but I'm happy Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell won.
Same here, because it was a good match. It was a really good match. It was fun to watch.
I think it was
Shotzi
better than
Black,
their match at Takeover. Don't you
yeah,
agree?
I agree. And Shotzi Blackheart really put a lot into it, a lot into this match. All of them did.
Yeah.
All of them really did a really good job in really selling this match, and it was definitely a fun match to watch.
So this is the first WWE title of Candice's career. So good for her there. It's also the first for Indy Hartwell. But Candice has been let's see, she's been there for a few years. So she was overdue. She was overdue to finally win a title.
I agree. I agree. I think now was the time. They did it in a good way. This could have been a pay-per-view match, to be honest, but
Right.
they don't really have as
Or
many
or a
pay-per-views.
takeover. I don't
Yeah.
think so we're probably not going to see the good thing about NXT. So they have a 2-hour show now, and they only do that. The takeovers only happen like once every other month, so that means we can see more of these basically pay-per-view quality matches on the USA Network.
And I'm
Jake, at
starting, and to be
yeah,
honest, I'm really starting to like NXT on Tuesday.
I think this is
I like
perfect
that.
for them. Really,
Yeah.
I think it's the perfect time slot for them for the moment. Jake Atlas lost to LA Knight. LA Knight, excuse me, finally got a win. It's about time. See,
LA
grizzled
Knight.
young veterans
I don't
and
know what to say
Tommaso
about.
Ciampa. What was that?
I don't know what to say about LA Knight and how they're using them.
I like LA Knight. I
I
guess I
like him.
just
I
hmm.
just don't like the way they're using him right now.
I feel like maybe he'd be better on the main roster, but maybe with the way they're booking him, maybe not. Let's see. So the grizzled young veterans faced Tim Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa got the submission victory for the team. That was a good match.
That was a good match. I actually enjoyed that one.
So we also had falls count anywhere between Isaiah Scott and Leon Ruff. Swerve got the win here. Looks like Swerve is, I think he's going places now. I think he's got a good character. He's got this kind of heel turn going. Karrion Cross. So now we have this business where we have a lot of people vying for Karrion Cross's title. We have Kyle O'Reilly. We have Pete Dunne, Finn Balor. It makes me wonder if they're going to do like a fatal 4-way or something with them, or they're going to do maybe a match with Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor to get a shot at Karrion Cross or something.
It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to do it. I would like to see a fatal 4-way. That would be good, but
Mm-hmm.
like they always say, fatal 4-ways are nobody has an advantage, not even the champions. So.
Okay, so two big match. Okay, so here's what we have for NXT next week, and this is very exciting. So we have Kushida versus Escobar, 2 out of 3 falls, and then Raquel Gonzalez versus Mercedes Martinez for the title. That is a badass matchup. That is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that because Raquel Gonzalez is really getting. Like, I went back and looked at other matches of hers over the year,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, she's definitely gonna like you've seen that growth with her performing, and it's just she's taking it literally to another level.
And Mercedes Martinez, she finally got out of Retribution. She got away from Retribution. Now she's back in NXT, and this is going to be. I think this is going to be a really great showcase for both of these women. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, at least they're using her now, and not with the mask and all that gimmick that Retribution was. I'm not a fan of I like the way Retribution started. I don't like how it ended.
Do you think this Ted DiBiase Cameron Grimes thing is going to be a regular thing right now?
I hope so. I actually kind of like it. It's kind of funny.
I don't mind. I don't mind it either. I guess it's a good way to kind of give Cameron Grimes the rub, and I do like Grimes' character a lot. I think he's very entertaining.
Yeah, ever since they changed it up and get him to where he got a bunch of money from the GameStop buying GameStop
Yeah,
stock,
and dog coin. Don't forget dog coin. Doge. There you go, Doge. I'm sorry for.
I've been looking at my Doge, to be honest.
There you go.
Not at the Cameron Grimes level, but I love the way they're playing it, and I love seeing Ted DiBiase doing what he does best, and just literally going up to the best part was when he was like, "You should have just bought the whole club to yourself."
There you go.
That was awesome. Great.
Okay. Any big takeaways from Raw? We had Mansoor joining the Raw roster.
Oh wait, before we go into Raw.
Oh wait!
Don't forget, next week Karrion Kross is gonna face.
Who is he facing next week?
He was. It was when the Way broke into the office to try and talk to William Regal.
Mm-hmm.
And it was what's his name? I don't know why I always seem to forget this when. Johnny Gargano.
Okay.
And the guy that
and Austin Theory.
Austin Theory.
Yeah.
Broke into the office. Johnny Gargano was trying to get his demands met, and Karrion Kross's valet. What's her name?
Scarlett.
Scarlett. Yeah. That's it. I always seem to forget these things when it has to be on the point.
Mm-hmm.
But Scarlett was sitting down talking to William Regal, and Austin Theory was just like, they leave. Well, Johnny Gargano leaves, and Austin Theory's all like talking to himself, like, they can't be real. They're just so big. They can't be real. And automatically you're thinking of what he's thinking of when you're looking at Scarlett. And he goes, "Oh, her nails. Look at her nails. They're so long."
Oh my God.
And Johnny Gargano came in and just all like, "Who cares about her nails? Who cares? Get out of here." It was a good setup to when they came back and met up with William Regal.
Mm-hmm.
And William Regal says, "Oh yeah, Scarlett made something for you, and you have a match with Cameron Grimes next week." I'm not Cameron Grimes, with Karrion Kross next week.
Okay, great.
So I was like, it was a good setup, a good fun way of setting up the match for next week.
So over on Raw, Lashley beat Braun Strowman, and next week Lashley will face Drew McIntyre because they're going to have the triple threat at what's the event called?
Wrestlemania Backlash.
Okay, great. Let's see what else. So AJ Styles and Omos finally came back, had a rematch with the New Day and won. Charlotte beat Dana Brooke. Damian Priest beat John Morrison. Lucha House Party was actually there and beat Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. And then that's it for Shelton and Cedric. So that team, even though they were basically already kicked to the curb by Lashley, now they're officially broken up. Angel Garza was on the show. It was good to see Angel Garza again, at least, and he beat Drew Gulak
3 weeks in a row.
RK Bro beat Elias and Jackson Riker. So it looks like, and the word is, the rumor is, I think from Fightful, that they're going to be continuing the whole RK Bro thing with Orton and Riddle for the time being. So Mansoor signed with the Raw roster. He'd mainly been on 205 Live and Main Event. So now he's signed to Raw, made his Raw debut, lost by disqualification to Sheamus because Humberto Carrillo interfered in the match and attacked Sheamus. So that ended I think Mansoor had like a 49 match winning streak, so I didn't like that, but maybe at least it means that Mansoor is going to feud with Sheamus and maybe Carrillo as well.
Yeah,
So
and
maybe that'll help those guys. But the way they did that match, I did not like.
yeah, I didn't like it either, but I thought it was a good way of building something or starting to build something. But hopefully they build it out right.
So is Lena ever going to beat Nia Jax or what? Is she ever like what? They're continuing this feud, and like
And they're
Naomi,
beating it like a dead horse.
well, like why were Lana and Naomi even paired up in the first place? Like that's not really.
I think they just needed to put Lana somewhere.
It's a random
And that was
pairing, yeah.
Yeah, they just put it together. And mostly probably because of TikTok.
I feel like you kind of have. I feel like Lana has to win a title or something at some point, just because of all she's endured against Nia Jax and Shayna. But I guess not.
Well, that's what you would think. That's what I would think. But I don't. It doesn't look like it's ever gonna reach to that level unless it's at a pay-per-view, and I don't think it's gonna be at WrestleMania Backlash.
Doesn't look like it. So let's see. WrestleMania Backlash is a week from Saturday, and they only have 3 matches set so
Is that it?
far.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's all they have set so far.
that's all they have. And the third match they've confirmed will be Rhea Ripley versus Asuka versus Charlotte, which I believe we were predicting last week.
Yeah.
So now it's official. Okay, so the other bit of news I wanted to get into, so you sent me this video that is making the rounds on social media from the former WWE superstar Kalisto, and I guess he's now going back to his original ring name of
Samurai del Sol.
Yeah, Samurai del Sol. So it put out a teaser. It says Gloat Triller Boxeo or boxing.
Boxeo.
He's in a boxing ring. He's wearing boxing gloves. So every indication appears to be that Samurai del Sol, the former Kalisto of WWE, the former cruiserweight NXT Tag Team Champion, United States Champion, is going to be boxing for Triller Fight Club. Mike,
it seems like it. I don't know yet, but from what I've seen, yeah, I guess it looks like that's where the route that he's going. And
are you going to be his manager? Are you going to be his boxing manager?
No, I'm not.
Why not?
No, I'm not. I do not. I'm a lover, not a boxer, so I can't be.
You don't have to box. You can just be like Mick and Rocky.
I probably could, but I mean, just to let everybody know, I'm friends with Samurai del Sol, and he tells me I don't share everything that we talk about.
Right,
That's
for sure.
Automatic.
But the video says coming soon, and I mean,
and hence
I can only assume it means he's teasing he's going to come to boxing for a Triller fight.
Yeah, and hence the reason why my lips are sealed, and you're gonna have to wait and see.
Okay.
Check out the social medias, check out his socials, and see what's going to happen. I'm not
So,
going to release everything. He will once
he'll release it when he's ready.
Yeah, and we'll get down when we get further down the line, and we get closer to when everything lifts and everything. We'll bring him on the show to talk about it.
I hope they're going to give him a big payday, whatever happens.
Well, I think it's a good opportunity and a good chance. It's something different. He's definitely fit. He's fit, and he's
Ben
ready to
Askren.
go,
Ben Askren got $500,000 for that fight with Jake Paul.
Yeah.
So,
which I don't know how Triller boxing even came to be, or where the money is, or if it's even sanctioned or official. It's all new to me. Triller fighting is.
It's very Triller. I'm not gonna.
I know they have money behind it, though.
Yeah, they have money. They definitely have money. Let's see. Who backs it? I'm curious.
Well, if it's Triller, the app, because
it's an offshoot to the main Triller app, basically.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I mean, I imagine maybe Snoop and Jake Paul are probably investing in it a little bit.
wouldn't shock
See, I
me
didn't know
because
Triller started as an app. Excuse
yeah,
me.
Triller is an app. And they had some big names supporting it, like big
They
companies like
have
Darby
had some big they
Allen.
have had some big names behind it. So,
Mhm.
but they are a bit of a sideshow. It is a bit of a sideshow thing. But whatever. Some
But
people,
I don't know what like it looks like a
okay,
TikTok thing. Automatically, that's what I get. I think it's at first when I first signed on and we created a MUSE TV account for it,
right,
I thought it was like TikTok.
okay.
But it doesn't seem like if it's a TikTok now. I guess it's more sport music based. I'm still trying to learn about it. Will we ever see wrestling in there? I don't
Is it
know.
like Clubhouse?
No, no, no. Completely different. It's closer to TikTok.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah, because
they're putting on fight pay-per-views now, and they're putting on boxing fights. So now they're in the prize fight business. So that's what
yeah.
they're doing now, and it looks like Kalisto is getting involved. And look, the man is in tremendous shape. I don't, uh, I just whatever he does, I don't want him to get embarrassed, and I
Yeah.
don't want him to
Well, and that's my thing too. Like I
look
think
bad.
one, he's in the best shape I've seen him in
Right,
ever.
right,
Ever. I think he's been training. He's taking this seriously from what I've talked to him about. He's ready to go in. He's not doing this just to like something to do. He's taking this
right,
very, very seriously.
right.
Now, what is he going to announce in the future? I don't know. But if it is a Triller fight, all I say what if that is the case and this is what the coming soon is going to be, because I'm not going to tell you guys. But if
Okay.
it is, I say take a look and you're going to be very surprised on how good he's going to come out and perform.
I don't see what else it could be because I mean it says in the hashtag it says Triller, so
Yeah.
I don't know what else it could be. And
Or definitely
already,
you could try and push it and try and get every lock to open up the gate, but I'm not going to say it on air.
you don't have to say it, but I mean, look, it's in the caption. It's on his social media. Triller coming soon.
No.
I mean, like if you're watching us right now, you can put two and two together. And good on Sasha Banks for also showing her support for Kalisto because I know they are friends as well. So,
Yeah, exactly. And I was
but
so
yeah,
happy to see him post
I
it.
want
I like
I want him to be happy. I want him to make money and enjoy what he's doing. So, best
because
of luck to him.
overall, you know, Kalisto's a really well samurai del Sol now. He's a really nice guy, and he's really straight up, and he really does. He's the type of athlete that like he says what he does, mean it, and he does it straight up. And he's been through
I'm
hard times, and you know what? With that injury that he got and while wrestling, and you know what? He's come out even better and even stronger after that injury. So that's why I say it's like it's a to me it's a good move. He brings in the legacy of luchador and wrestler, and it's cool to me. I think he's like I support him 100% on whatever he does, and this is a great thing. I just hope they're fighting in L.A. and not in like Miami or someplace else.
Okay, so elsewhere, tonight on Vice TV, we'll see the premiere of season 3 of Dark Side of the Ring. So tonight's premiere will be a two-parter for the late Brian Pillman. Brian Pillman's son, Brian Pillman Jr., now wrestles for AEW. He was actually on TV last night. So he's sort of having his own wrestling career right now. Brian Pillman was a very sort of cutting edge, breaking, what's the word? He's a very sort of edgy superstar. He kind of did the shoot kind of promo before everyone else was doing it.
Mhm.
And but he had a very sort of tragic ending to his career. So we are getting a two-part special later tonight on Vice TV on Dark Side of the Ring. Have you watched any of the previous seasons of
I
Dark
have
Side?
not, but I did
Wow.
see on YouTube. I did see the Brian Pillman piece.
The
The
first
part,
part, right?
yeah, I did see
Okay.
that on YouTube, and that was really, really fascinating and interesting.
Okay.
Because I remember him wrestling in WCW when he was in the Hollywood Blondes, and when he went over to WWE and was a part of the Hart Foundation and
Mhm.
everything like that. Really enjoyed his style of wrestling and what he did. Uh, and it was just fascinating to see what he's gone through, and it was a great. Like part one was really good.
So here's some of the other subjects this season will be Nick Gage, who's sort of more like a hardcore indie wrestler. This one looks very interesting. They're going to do an episode about the collision in Korea. This was a WCW event that went to North Korea in the mid 90s. So think about that, going into North Korea for a wrestling show in the mid 90s. It's not quite the same, but it kind of reminds me of what's happening with WWE in Saudi Arabia, or more recently with that kind of, the kind of weirdness of putting shows on over there.
What's funny,
So
I don't even remember when they went to North Korea.
it was I think it was 1996.
Shoot.
I don't
remember
even
anything.
I think it was only available in Korea basically. So let's see. No, it was 1995. Collision in Korea. So yeah, it was just sort of an odd event, I guess.
Obviously, it was
So it
just
was
the
in
one show.
Pyongyang, North Korea. So we're gonna get an episode about that sort of WCW trip because it's kind of it's not something you see now. It's not really
No.
something you've seen since or now. So that's very fascinating. There will be an episode about the Ultimate Warrior. I know that. And it's gonna be a longer season, so I'm very excited. Season 2 started with Chris Benoit, ended with Owen Hart. What else? You had Jimmy Snuka, you had the Brawl for All, the assassination of Dino Bravo. So that was a very good season. This is a great show. It's the highest rated show on Vice TV. I just interviewed the co-creators, Evan Husney and Jason Eisner. So on my podcast and on 411 Mania, you can check out that interview. So I'm very excited about Dark Side of the Ring. And Mike, you should watch this because it is very good. They'll probably release some of the episodes on YouTube later.
Definitely, I watched that. I watched that Brian Pillman one. It was so good, and also
Mm-hmm.
that hardcore. What was his name? The one that
Nick Gage.
Moxley was. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
some of whatever they put
Yeah,
out.
they showed a clip where with John Moxley talking about
Yeah,
that.
and that was really interesting. It looks like an interesting show. I've been watching that A&E documentary specials this week.
Right.
Well, the last couple weeks. Miss
Biography,
Roddy
right?
Piper. Yeah, Miss Roddy Piper. I saw the
Macho Man,
first
them.
one was Macho Man was this past weekend. The first one was Stone Cold.
Right.
But
And this
Macho Man,
weekend, you're right.
yeah,
Macho Man
Macho
one was
Man was
good.
really good. Like it was a really in-depth look at the man. And that was interesting. And next week's I'm excited for because I'm a big fan of Booker T.
Booker T. Right.
Yeah.
Those documentaries are good. I think what's the dark side tends to reveal the more tragic stories. They did a Macho Man and Elizabeth story on Dark Side of the Ring, actually.
Yeah,
But
I was thinking the whole relationship between Macho Man and Elizabeth was really odd. Like how controlling, like the it was hard to escape the Macho Man
it bled
in
over.
real
It
life.
like
Yeah,
what was happening in real life, like bled over to their TV characters, or vice versa.
I know it's fascinating. I want to see what the Dark Side of the Ring version of that was.
That one's
I'm sure
already available because that was in the first season. That was that was the series premiere. Was Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth. But I think the biography ones are good because they do get really in depth from for the Macho Man one. I think they went to places that the Dark Side of the Ring did not, like his WCW run. So, and some of the more disturbing parts of his career. But I think it's better. It's better to kind of like show the warts and all approach. So,
yeah, I agree.
I think the biography specials have been good, but Dark Side of the Ring is a really good, unflinching look at the wrestling industry and just sort of those weird, dark, those darker aspects of the business. But it does treat those topics with respect, and that's what I really like about the show. So
And
I'm very,
also
yeah,
and also I don't know if you caught this after the biography of Macho Man, WWE Most Wanted little show where they're
Oh,
looking
Most
at
Wanted
what
Treasures. Yes.
yeah, Most Wanted Treasures.
Yeah.
This week with the King Jerry Lawler was really good and really fascinating because it really went deep into the whole Lawler and why the hell am I forgetting these things all the time?
Bret Hart.
No, not Bret Hart. They did go into that, which was fascinating, but also with
I missed that one.
from
Who?
oh man, why am
What
I
year?
forgetting?
Do you know, like the
In the
era?
80s, the 80s. I was a little kid when he was around, so it was like 81, 82 with Jerry Lawler.
Oh, Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman, yeah.
Yeah. Because that
Yeah,
was
they went into it and opened up about the whole thing with him and Kaufman and how like the day that he was on the
David
day he did on
Letterman.
Dave Letterman
Yeah.
and he did the whole thing and everybody thought it was real. Like he
Yeah.
sold it off so good.
Yeah.
And the guy who was the guy just goes into their room and Andy Kaufman comes in and says, "Hey, what did you think?" I'm like, that is just amazing how good and how believable it was and how they said, "Oh yeah, that's probably like the first ever real work." And with that history of the fact that it probably wouldn't be that sports entertainment and bringing celebrities in probably wouldn't happen because of it.
And this weekend, Booker T will be helping out with Most Wanted Treasures. So they're going to be trying to look for some old Booker T memorabilia.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
curious
that's a
to see
good
what's
show.
happening. It's interesting. It's really interesting to see, and it looks like they're finally getting serious about this WWE Hall of Fame.
Suppose it's rumored. I think Triple H did talk about it. He actually talked, and he has talked about a physical Hall of Fame building before. Uh, I think
Well,
they have the Performance Center.
Steiner had said like
Okay.
because they've asked him many times like, would you ever consider being a part of the Hall of Fame? And he says it's a joke to me because there's no building, there's no real Hall of Fame.
Okay.
It's just
Scott
inducting
Steiner.
people. Yeah, Scott Steiner would say
Okay.
that.
Okay. So my understanding is traditionally Hall of Fame buildings don't make money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why they avoid it. But they have the Performance Center, they have the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando. Why not just attach the Hall of Fame to that area and make it part of that? You know?
Exactly.
Or
Because they had said
because
it
they
was going
own
to
that.
be
That's property they own, right?
yeah,
That's property they own, right?
yeah. Because that whole I guess that college campus thing that they were on,
Right. Full Sail.
Full Sail. I guess it's no longer around, or they moved, or
Full
something like
Sail
that.
University,
So
right?
they took over a lot of that facility.
Okay, so don't rent out the property, like own the property. Like don't put it in Universal Studios where you be renting the property.
Yeah.
Build it yourself and own it, like you have the Performance Center, put it with the Performance Center and the Capitol Wrestling Center, and that's just my suggestion. But yeah,
There
I
is
would
an
like.
avenue. There is an international drive
Mhm.
where they have a lot of museums. They have a Ripley's Believe It or Not and a bunch of other
Okay.
things there. If it's not going to be where the Capitol Center Wrestling Center is now, International Drive is where it should be.
Oh,
And there needs to be its own standalone building.
where's International Drive?
It's International Drive goes right by Universal Studios and it goes all the way down
Okay.
towards Walt Disney World. It's like
Well, do you
the
think?
major drag there.
I think whatever they do, they would probably want to own the property instead of leasing or renting property, is what I would imagine. Okay, so here Triple H was on the Cheap Heat podcast. Here's what he said. It's definitely something we've contemplated. It has to be done right. That would be fascinating and go see somebody's old trunks. Hall of Famers like that, physical Hall of Fames and museums like that tend to be money pits and not do well because over time people lost interest. You need to make it something more. And I think if it was interactive with technology the way it is now, there are those objects and things that people can see and be wowed by, but there's also reasons to keep going back. I'm of the opinion that needs to be more than a thing you go to one time and go, that was neat, I saw some boots, but more of a, you go to see this, I was there, there's a virtual this, there's a 3D that. There's a technology that takes you to another level, like Disney, where you go see these incredible things, but also have these mind-blowing experiences around WWE, and you can spend the day there. So basically, they need a WWE amusement park, Mike.
Pretty much. That's what they're talking about.
Or you know, they
a Boss roller coaster. There you go.
they need something. They need like revolving attractions to keep people coming in if they make it, rather than just
They need something where people are gonna travel from across the globe to want to see it.
Do you remember the WWE restaurant?
Yes, I don't remember.
Did you ever go there?
I never got a chance to go.
I went there when I was on a trip with my family in New York in 2000. It was WWE New York. So yeah.
Didn't they used to have wrestling matches there every so often?
I don't know if they had they would show them there for sure. But I don't know if they had them actually. They would have stars there, and they would do angles there now and again. But I don't know if they'd have They might have.
Yeah, it was the early 2000s.
They did have matches at Access. I know that.
Yeah.
At like WrestleMania Access. Okay. So any other news items to go over this week, or?
To be honest, I think we went over everything because it was
okay.
another slow week. But next week,
Blood and Guts was pretty cool.
Yeah, Blood and Guts was cool. Hopefully next week we finally get a good Raw. I'm hoping it gives us enough time now, since we're going to be cutting out early, we could catch the end of Impact and see what's going on. So I think it's a good time. I think it's
okay. A couple notes. So Cesaro. Tomorrow will be the throwback edition of SmackDown. It'll be a retro style SmackDown show with all the old logos and stuff. It'll be Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. And also, Daniel Bryan's contract has apparently expired. That is the word. His contract legitimately expired after last week's SmackDown, and he does not have a new contract. That is, multiple websites have reported that. PWI Insider and I think Fightful have both reported that. So Daniel Bryan is currently no longer under WWE contract, but we did not see him. We did not see him on AEW last night.
Nope. Didn't see him at Ring of Honor or any other for anything else.
Okay, so PWI said Daniel Bryan has been officially removed from the internal WWE roster. So as of now, Daniel Bryan is not a WWE superstar.
No more.
Unless they get him to sign a new contract, which I don't know if he will. So
yeah, I don't know if I guess a yes chance. I've quieted down for now.
I wonder how the yes thing would work. Could he still do it outside of WWE?
I don't think so, because they still have shirts. They're still selling shirts. They're gonna
right, but he
could make money on the shirts.
He could go back to his old. He could go back to Bryan Danielson at least. So there's that.
Exactly.
Okay, but yeah, that's all I have for this week.
Yeah, same here. Hey, thank you, Jeffrey, for coming on board.
Thank you.
It's always a lot of fun, and fortunately, wrestling's been kind of slow except for Blood and Guts.
I'm looking forward to seeing you live on Triller with Samurai.
Hey, that doesn't mean it's going. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no.
And if things go bad during the fight, you can grab the powder. You can throw the powder in a guy's eyes. Just be like and distract the referee.
You do know this means that I would have to work out again, right? And I don't know if I want to.
You don't have to. You're the manager. You're ringside.
If I'm going out there, I'm going Diamond Dallas Page manager style.
You don't have to be. Remember Captain Lou Albano when he would manage like the old school guys?
Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah, you can
swagger to him.
You have swagger. You have swagger, Mike.
When?
Don't worry about it. You can just come out, distract the referee, and then when he's distracted, throw some powder in the guy's eyes, and then he'll get a
And then
win.
an uppercut and
There you
right
go.
hook, and there you
You
go.
can throw a fire. You can make a fireball or something.
Hey, the only person who wants to see that is probably you, so I'll keep it right there at that. But hey,
I want to
everybody,
see you on TV managing Samurai and cheating and helping him cheat to win.
yeah,
There you
once
go.
again, that let that all be on your vision board and everything else like that. That's cool. But with
I
that, I'm
will.
closing
I'm
this
good.
show now. Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe. Hey, Jeffrey, where can they find you?
On Twitter at Wheeljack83. My podcast, the 411 Wrestling Interviews podcast, you can find it on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, or the 411 Mania YouTube channel. You can also check out my latest exclusive interview with the Dark Side of the Ring co-creators on 411mania.com/wrestling.
Cool, man. You can find me here on MUSE TV. We have a lot of great things coming up, and we'll see you next week. Same time, 5 p.m. every Thursday here on This Week in Pro Wrestling. See you next time.